I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So last month, we accepted the resignation of Arthur Weiland from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Arthur was first appointed to the ZBA on March 9th, 1999, and has served for over 23 years. In addition to that, Arthur worked with the Comprehensive Plan Committee and spent many evenings at public workshops of the Zoning Revision Committee. He spent 4 years serving as a commissioner of the East Clinton Fire District. Arthur has also been a strong advocate for maintaining the Clinton Historical Society Cemetery. On a personal note, Art has invited me into his home to discuss important town issues and has provided me with valuable advice over the last several years. His dedication to the town of Clinton should serve as an inspiration to those looking to volunteer their time in meaningful ways. And the town of Clinton gives a heartfelt thank you to Arthur for so many years of service. I'd like to open the meeting with anyone on the board that would like to speak to Arthur's service.
I have a letter. This is from my husband, Ron Mostello, who serves on the ZBA, or served on the ZBA with Art. Good afternoon. I cannot attend the meeting tonight, but would you please convey the following? Although relatively new to the ZBA, one of the quickest things I learned was that Arthur was a wealth of information and extremely detail-oriented. In my inexperience, applications that I thought would be open and shut were often dissected and dismantled by him, then reviewed again by the board members. The discussions that followed were thoughtful and in-depth, and we often had Arthur to credit for taking another look at zoning laws and resolutions. As a result, his insight has enabled all of us to learn, grow, and become better contributing members of the ZBA. I thank him wholeheartedly for his very long tenure on the ZBA and for the approach he has shown me through example. He will be missed, especially by me. Thank you, Art.
So I have two statements, one for myself and then one from Norma Dolan, who couldn't be here as well. I think we as a community and we as a board sometimes don't appreciate, at least openly, all the great service that many of our volunteers do for this town, because our town really couldn't function, at least financially couldn't function the way it does without them. And in a world where, you know, things become pretty polarized, it's great to see how many of our boards work together without any issues of polarization. Happened to start my time on the town at the Zoning Board of Appeals with Art 16 years ago. I always found that Art was always conscious of a lot of different details that most people would probably overlook. Art in his demeanor has always been calm and confident, and, you know, when I started, I took a lot of, you know, not so much advice, but I followed in Art's mental process of how he would look at all the different details within a particular case, and his rationale. Even though we may not have always agreed, we always could come up with a final conclusion that everybody was satisfied with. I just wanted to thank Art for his many years on the town board and all that he's done for the town, and I want to wish you best of luck. From Norma, she says, I'm sorry I couldn't be present for this well-deserved recognition of Art Weiland. It is a true honor to have had the privilege of working with Art on the zoning board for 16 of my 25 years. He will truly be missed by all of us and deserves many accolades and his recognition for his significant contribution to the town. He's brought tremendous knowledge and insight to our board. I will certainly miss his kind demeanor and constant willingness to give an extra help whenever needed. His knowledge and ability that comes from his many years of living in the town, his diligence, his dedication, and his experience. He will be hard to replace. We do have an excellent zoning board, and Art has been a big part of that effectiveness and teamwork. Art, please accept my sincere appreciation for your service and all the help you've given me over the years. Norma.
Well, I mean, I would obviously certainly endorse everything that's been said up until now by my colleagues here. I first met Arthur about a year after we moved to the town of Clinton, which was about 20-odd years ago when my wife and I applied for a variance and had to go before the ZBA. And actually, Arthur voted against it, but that's okay. We still got the variance, and we never did anything anyway, so no harm done. But anyway, that was our introduction, and we got friendly with the Wylands, and I got friendly with Arthur during my time on the planning board, overlapped greatly with his time on the ZBA. We had a lot of conversations, discussions, some disagreements about planning issues and zoning issues. And he was certainly very helpful to me, and I hope that was true the other way around. So it's he will certainly be missed after 23 years on the ZBA, and appreciate the service. Thank you, Arthur.
So now we will open it up to the floor. Anyone that has something they'd like to say, please go up to the mic and let us know.
Russ Tompkins, Shellsville. I know hardly anybody knows me here, but I've only been on the ZBA roughly a year, and Art pulls things out that other people might have missed. I think he was a valuable member there. Again, he and I didn't always agree, but I think it was Norma has said more than once, you got 7 people there, and the decision is a majority of those, and it's good that we have people with different viewpoints. And I think we try to do what's best for the citizens of the town and give them some leeway when they're constrained by zoning, and let them do reasonable things to their property. And I really think that losing Art is going to be losing a tremendous asset. But, you know, his father was supervisor of this town years ago, so I guess it must have run in the family.
Good evening. John Caligero, ZBA member. Dean, I don't even remember how long I've been on the ZBA. You keep track of it. 15 years. One of the astounding things that I noticed about my experience on the ZBA is how many nights I would go to a meeting, and I'd pretty much have my mind in a path as to how this was going to go. And then Art would start to talk. And he would bring up nuances, details based on history of the town, based on reading the zoning law with the finest of fine microscope. And I'd suddenly find myself in turmoil, which he did to me on a number of times. And I think I did that to him a few times too, just to keep the score a little bit where it is. But I'm not going to repeat everything that was said, except to say that he is going to be sorely missed on the board for the experience, the sense of history that he has brought to the town meetings, and the way that his presence has helped to balance out that board. Art, thank you.
I'm going to do the last part down there. So we got a plaque that hopefully he can hang in his home. It reads, "In appreciation of Arthur Weiland for his 23 years of loyal and dedicated service to the community, Zoning Board of Appeals, 1999 to 2022, East Clinton Fire District Commissioner, 2016 to 2019, and Comprehensive Plan Committee." Arthur, if you want to come on.
Very kind words. I'm very glad to have some more time with folks that I know fairly well. I must agree with John that I usually came to these meetings fairly well sure of what I thought the situation entailed, and usually had my mind changed in many ways as we discussed issues. It's been I can't at the moment remember all the people that were on the board when I started, but they led me along and gave me time to learn. I often think of deer in the headlights. The first year on a board like this, it's rather stunning what you've gotten yourself into. And then you begin to get a sense of those who have experience, what they're doing, and how to proceed. It's been a great learning experience. I would recommend getting involved in community activities that require the use of your intelligence and creativity to anyone that has some spare time. It's a great benefit to the community to have these different voices, to have 7 of us on the board. I'm thinking of a case right now where, I think of others, but some neighbors didn't want a pool overlooking their backyard. And 6 members of the board thought that people who wanted the pool should have the pool, everything's fine, everything's great, but I voted against it. In part, the neighbors who didn't want the pool weren't alone in this community. They were frustrated and not happy, but they weren't alone. Somebody else saw their point of view. So thank you all for your kind words. It's been fun. We have a lot of fun as a ZBA. You wouldn't believe it. I think some of the applicants are a bit stunned. And I hope we don't hurt anybody's feelings in the way we joke and jest. It turns out Philip and I are only moving about 3.5 miles for the moment. So when when the dust clears, we may have some more time to enjoy this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur. Now we're going to move on to a second presentation. Teresa Stegner has been tirelessly working to keep our town at 100% equalization rate for assessments. The recent spike in real estate activity has presented a challenge, to say the least, and required a near total reassessment of the community. Many residents have received letters this week informing them of their new assessed value. We've received many emails and phone calls about this at my office, so the town board invited Teresa to speak to the community tonight to help explain the role of assessments in determining an individual's property taxes, along with other factors such as the tax cap and tax rate. So the mic's yours, Teresa.
You talked about fun. The fun ends now, really. So the best way to maintain equity within the town is to do a reassessment project on a regular basis. So I do a what's called a non-reappraisal reassessment project. I look at every property statistically in the town. The town is broken up in my records by property class, school district, neighborhood, and building style, and those are the main factors. And within that, there's 4 main property classes that the state looks at. So the main property classes are residential, commercial, vacant and farm, and utility. So some of the benefits to maintaining 100% is the utility property, number one, is valued by the state. To be honest, I would have absolutely no idea how to value utility properties. So it's a good thing they do that because we have quite a bit of utility, and when they start doing the upgrades to all the lines and everything, we will benefit from that because they will have to report to us what the increase in value is from that. So there's some definite benefits to maintaining 100%, and like I said, it provides equity within the town. So my main job, though, is I am the pizza pie cutter. So the pizza pie is the levy, the amount of taxes that have to be raised by the town, the school district, fire district, the county. So the pizza pie is this, and it's cut different ways depending on what the market is doing. So right now the pieces are smaller. The market is up, I'm assessing higher, so the pizza pie gets cut in smaller pieces, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your taxes are going up. So I saw overall a 19.3% average increase in the town, which is significant. And last year it was just under 8%. So we're talking, a really big increase. But it's not just this town. It's most of Dutchess County, especially last year, the southern part of Dutchess saw a bigger increase. This year it was the northern part of Dutchess. And also Columbia, Greene, and, more upstate. So anyway, so I do an analysis of the entire town. it's spreadsheets, it's pivot tables, it's complicated. I spend a lot of time on this. Now, I understand this is a mass appraisal. I'm not a single property appraiser. I don't go to your house. I don't look at it, measure, do everything like that, and then take comps for your individual house. I do a mass appraisal. Now, within that mass appraisal, there are individual factors that go into that and are shown. So there is a comparable sales sheet that it takes comparable sales. It's done programmatically, but it takes comparable sales, it does cost, and it does a model. So the model says, well, here's your very basic house. It's 400 square feet and it's on 0.1 acre, 0.01 acre, and then you build from that. So if you have a pool, it adds this much. If you have, this much square feet, it adds this much. So I have these three, plus I also do comparable assessments, just to give you an idea of how I'm doing. So that's what it is. So each one of your properties has these analysis. So you can come into my office and say, how did you come up with the value for my house? And I will print those for you and give them to you. Now, that being said also, this is not a perfect system. It's going to value most properties well, but there's certainly going to be ones that are not valued well. And also, even after I do the analysis with, let's say, I really looked at school districts and building styles. So if you were in the Hyde Park School District and you had a ranch, you went up 19%. However, after I do that, I look at what's called an outlier report. Some people, they weren't assessed right and correctly in the first place, or maybe it grabbed bad comparable sales or something, and I relook at those properties individually. And there's usually about 600 properties. I think I actually looked at 1,000 this year, which is about half the town, because I wanted to try to really get this right. So I did spend a lot of time. I know this is a tough job. This job, I didn't sign on for this at all, right? This job was fine, and it was a little controversial always because it's tough. It involves your taxes, and I understand that. But this year was and next year is going to be probably worse because the market is still going up. It's starting to slow down. The interest rates have gone up. But I have to value everything as of July 1st of this year, and if the market starts to really crumble, then nobody's going to understand that I raised it 10% when, your market is now down 10%. So this is going to be... Anyway, I've asked the board actually to maybe look into doing a data collection and a new RFP through outside companies, just so that I'd have even better data. This is all data-driven, right? I really need to know what your house has, square footage-wise, what kind of condition it's in, does it have, garage, pool, sheds, decks, etc. So the better the data, the better the value. Now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Zillow. Zillow used to be terrible, but Zillow has gotten better and better and better. They've gotten better algorithms, they've gotten better data. The more data they build on, the better their numbers get. So just for fun, Zillow your house and see what it says. You'll be shocked. And I got to tell you, every time a sale happens, I go, you got to be kidding me, this sold for that. Come on, people, what are you doing? But it just keeps happening and happening. So I just got this card the other day. 54 Tulare Lane. First of all, it says it's 2,000 square feet. Okay, I think it's a stretch. I have 1120 with a 220 square foot finished basement. And then there's a 400 square foot enclosed porch. And they mentioned the porch, but they also added it into the square footage, which, it's a little bit achieving. But they're realtors, let the buyer beware. So this house I have assessed for $283,000, on market for $390,000, sold in, what does it say, 3 days, 72 hours, above asking. They had 3 offers, and that is how it's going. If you have a house that's in the 300s or low 400s, or forget 200s, you're going to sell your house in days, and that's how it is. Still, this is just a couple of days ago. In fact, our maintenance guy, Eric, he sold his house in a couple of days. He lives on Grissom. He's in the Hyde Park School District on 0.6 acres, a 1,600 square foot ranch. Sold it, I think he had it on the market for $390,000, sold it for $410,000. So, this is just, and so in order to maintain 100%, I have to try to keep up with this. So I have to value everything as of July 1st of last year, but the market was still up, it was way up. And I have not experienced this before. I became an assessor in 2006, just when the market was kind of at its height, but it was starting to come down, and then of course it crashed. So everybody says, oh, you're going to raise my assessment when the market turns, you're not going to lower it. Oh yeah, sure I am going to lower it, but it doesn't mean it's going to lower your taxes. The piece of the pies just get bigger. the tax levy stays the same or goes up a little bit. So that's really kind of in a nutshell how assessing works. It's not really the most fun job, but everybody's been very gracious. I mean, I appreciate everybody. You know, the public is great about this. Well, what I did find out though was our phone system only takes 20 messages and then it's full. Just so you know.
Noted.
So, yeah, I found out on a Saturday, the first day. So that's kind of it. Does anybody have questions? I mean, there's a lot of, I could go on about assessing, literally for days. So,
Could I ask a question? Somebody posed this to me, and I didn't know the answer. I mean, I understand, I think most people understand, that assessments don't necessarily mean increases or decreases in property taxes, but what about school taxes?
okay, so school tax.
Which is a bigger hit for
School
us.
tax is the biggest hit, right? So
Right.
school tax is tricky because we share the school with other towns, right? Hyde Park being the most difficult.
Right.
Because the town of Hyde Park hasn't done a revaluation for a very long time, but not even that. They have such a different makeup to their town than we do, right? They have a lot of commercial, they have a lot of wholly exempt, they're a different type of town. We're better compared to like a Stanford or Milan. So those towns, you know, so the Pine Plain School District, the Millbrook School District, the Rhinebeck School District, we tend to do fine with those. We might see a small shift this year because I was perhaps slightly more aggressive than they were as far as raising assessments. Remains to be seen though. They'll be lowering due to grievances, so. But the Hyde Park School District is a bit of a problem child. So I did an analysis of the tax rates. Now, the other thing is the levy increase, right? I spoke about that. That's how much they have to raise in taxes. Hyde Park's giving you a pretty good levy increase of 2.86%. Millbrook, Rhinebeck, Pine Plains actually is going up 3.06, but they have such a low tax rate that it's not going to make that much of a difference as far as the change. And then Rhinebeck and Millbrook are very, very low. They're at 1.69 and 1.86. So the levy, but I shouldn't speak to the levy because what I need to speak to is what is the assessment change going to do to your taxes? Take the levy part out of it because we can't control that. So, like I said, in the town, 19.3, if you were below that change, you're going to see a decrease in your town. Above that, you're going to see a little increase in your town. School district, it's probably closer to 16 and a half. If you're below 16 and a half, you'll probably see a decrease in your school tax. Above 16 and a half, an increase in your school tax. But if you're in the Hyde Park School District, that number is closer to 14.5%. So, and that's just assessments. With the levy, quite frankly, it's going to be like 11 point something.
So talking to other towns, do you know what Hyde Park is doing?
As far as a revaluation?
No, as far as how have they,
Oh, that's a good question. So it's all about the equalization rate that they claim. And I'm not sure if the state has adopted those. Everyone claims what's called a level of assessment. Then the state has to adopt that as the equalization rate that's set against every property. I do not know where they stand because the state doesn't really tell us at this point. They will eventually in the next month or so, but.
I mean, because if they stay at the 52% equalization rate.
Oh,
and-
no, they're not going to stay at the 50. No.
Okay,
No,
well, they've
no.
stayed at 52 for a little bit.
No. They'll be at 44.
But I'm saying if they stayed at 52 and we're raising it
Yeah,
20%,
right. No, that will not happen.
they're a bigger part of that pie of that school district,
No,
so.
right, exactly. No,
that would
will not
impact
happen.
us.
Actually, my analysis says, let's see, they said they were at 44.75.
Wow.
So, yeah. But still, that's a smaller decrease than we are seeing with our numbers, so.
So people who live in the Hyde Park District they're gonna get a hit on school taxes, more so than
likely get hit
more
with
so than the
school
rest of
taxes.
us
Now,
in the town.
you know, from year to year, there can be shifts back and forth, and
Right.
there have been. And
Right.
actually, a couple of years ago, probably no one noticed, but the Hyde Park school taxes went down a little bit. If you were, you know, in general they did, and because I hadn't raised anyone except for those people that were outliers. It's just the last couple of years that I've been doing general townwide changes because it required it in order to maintain 100%. Before that, I was really just looking at the outliers. So yeah, so if you go back, I think it's 3 years, you'll see that actually our school taxes were lower than theirs. But nobody can believe that their school taxes sometimes go down. So it all depends how you do against everybody else, you know. It's a numbers game. I'm always the bearer of bad news, by the way. Just so you know.
So we always,
I have exemptions too. Oh, just one thing too, if anybody's watching this and has an ag exemption or forestry exemption, I thought on the change of assessment notices, it would show the exemption amount, but it does not. But they were proportionally changed. So if you saw a 19% increase in your assessment, you saw a 19% increase in your ag exemption.
so there's basically three options for us. One is what you're doing right now. Two is the data collection. What about the third option if we did nothing?
Okay, if you do nothing, yep. So what will
So
happen
what
is-
would happen? What's the benefit? What's the negative?
Okay, that's a good question. So the
Thank
main
you.
reason, because I said I wasn't really going to do this year, but I had so much data and so many sales that would be kind of a waste to just throw that out and just be, you know, because every time you don't do this, right, things become more inequitable.
Well, it snowballs.
That's not right, and it's snowballs. So the higher ends tend to get away with it, you know. So I felt like this was the year to really get some good numbers out there. So that's what I did. So, and of course, like I said, they're not all perfect. And oh, please, you must file a grievance. If you do not agree with your assessment, you can come talk to me, but you have to file the grievance form because anything that I agree to has to be agreed to by the Board of Assessment Review. They basically own my role after I file it on May 1st. So you have to do a grievance. And grievance day is May 25th this year.
When
It's
do
the
they have to
fourth
file
Wednesday
by?
after the fourth Tuesday. Pardon me?
When do they have to file by?
By grievance day, by the end of grievance day, which is
Okay.
8 o'clock on the 25th of May. But I would suggest you file it in advance by May 25th. May 25th.
Teresa, does the state mandate assessments by every X number of years? Is there?
No. So New York State is probably one of the only states that does not mandate a periodic review of assessments throughout the town. Almost every other state has it done every 5 years usually, or 6 years. New York State has no requirement. And yeah, it's a problem. Like, we can see what happens when one town doesn't do a revow for years and years, and others do. So the most perfect, I guess, school district is Pine Plains, because every town within the Pine Plains School District maintains 100%.
All right.
Did I cover everything?
I also just wanted to say that next month, I plan on introducing an amendment to the town code that's going to increase the income threshold for the senior citizen exemption. It should provide some relief to senior citizens in town. We haven't increased it in a long time, and we can raise it by about $5,000, so
Right, $37,399.99.
that's the number. And we're at 32 right now.
By 32,
Yeah.
$99.99. So that is helpful, that's great.
So the state has also been,
Pardon me?
How often does that get looked at?
It only gets looked at if someone asks the board. So it's each taxing entity has their own limits. So the county is 29,400. Some of the school districts are 32.4, and some of them are 37.4. So Millbrook is the only one within our school districts that does 37.4. But certainly, and one person, when it comes to this, one person can make a difference. Go to a school board meeting and say, you should be raising these. It hasn't been raised. So what really needs to be done is, this is legislative through the state. They have to raise the limits higher than that, right? They have to set the limits up to 45,000 or 43,000 or whatever, but they haven't looked at them since 2007. That was the last time the limits were changed. So the Enhanced Star, they raise the income on the Enhanced Star almost every year, but they haven't done it with the low-income senior since 2007.
And you're right, one person can make a difference
One
because
person could definitely make a difference with that.
Lynn called me about it, and that's why I'm doing it.
I'm asking questions, I guess.
Sure.
How do they determine, like, whether or not you're gonna do medical exemptions on those?
Okay, so that's a local option also by the boards. So you'd have to, you'd have to ask for that.
Right, some of the towns do it. Hyde Park does it.
There's two.
Yeah.
I think I pointed that out to you. Yeah, Hyde Park, I don't know, Poughkeepsie, maybe? I'm not sure. There's two towns out of all of them that do it. Because it's a little bit of work. So, because a person can bring in all their medicals and then the assessor has to add them all up. So I don't think assessors tend to encourage that option where we encourage other ones perhaps. It's a little tricky.
In terms of seniors being on a fixed income.
Right,
and-
right.
when you get to be older, that's your major expense,
Very true.
unfortunately.
Very true.
So, since we have you, are there any other changes coming through the state? I know that the ag exemption was kind of in the air as far as changing. The forestry exemption was looking at increasing the amount of acreage. So can you give us an update on those type of
I
things?
have no updates on that. I know
Okay.
that they looked at it, they looked at ags to see if they were being properly granted, and they really didn't, they made a report to us, but we could use a lot more help. I've contacted the EC, and he's kind of overworked, underpaid, according to him. So it's a little tricky. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
All right. Thank you so much, Teresa.
See, the last chance, nobody else has any questions.
Oh, they'll have one more chance, I think.
File that grievance, you have to file that grievance. RP 524.
So now we move on to approving minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 20th, 2022 Town Board Special Meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 20th, 2022 public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 20th, 2022 Town Board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 25th, 2022 highway heating bid opening. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there anyone that would like to have public discussion now on any agenda items? And we can include Teresa's comments in the agenda items. She's on there. Anyone? Okay, we'll skip that. Moving on to supervisors' comments. The Clinton Town offices, Highway Department, Justice Court Office, and Court will be closed for the Memorial Day holiday on Monday, May 30th. The Clinton Community Library will also be closed. The Town of Clinton Climate Smart Task Force is hosting a green fair this Saturday at Fran Mark Park from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The task force has spent the past year tackling the global climate crisis by promoting and supporting local actions that make a difference. And an important aspect of this work is educating the general public about the impacts of climate change. We are hoping this green fair will show people what they can do in their own lives to reduce harmful greenhouse gas emissions, increase renewable energy generation, and preserve our natural environment. Reducing and reversing the impacts of climate change will require an all-hands-on-deck effort, and we're working locally to do our part. The New York State burn ban remains in effect for 4 more days through May 14th. And then the last thing is, many people are aware of the drastic increase in electricity supply rates over the last few months. Not in my comments, but I found out today that starting May 11th, I believe, the rate is going down drastically for Central Hudson.
Right.
They are currently at 13.6 cents a kilowatt hour. They're going down to 6.2 cents.
An email came around this morning
Yeah.
from Central Hudson.
Yeah,
So-
so went down
The
50%.
rates are going down, yeah.
Throughout all of this, though, most residents of Clinton have been protected from the high rates due to our participation in community choice aggregation. Our rate in that program is 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour as compared to the current Central Hudson of 13.6. The third-party supplier in the CCA program is Columbia Utilities, and recently Columbia Utilities expressed the position that Central Hudson's billing system failures qualify as a force majeure per the electricity supply agreement, and has indicated that they want to execute, they want to exercise their right to terminate as a result. This would force about 25,000 customers from our CCA to revert to the Central Hudson supply rate, effectively doubling our rates if they weren't going down so drastically now. Jewel Assets, our CCA administrator, along with all of the municipalities involved, have sent a letter to the Attorney General and the Public Service Commission asking for injunctive release and forcing Columbia Utilities to live up to their agreement that they've made with us. If we do not receive an assurance from the PSC that the residents will not be returned to the utility, we will draft a letter to be sent to residents and informing them of Columbia's decision. Right now, it's just awaiting a decision by the PSC, and I'm going to do my best to keep everybody informed of what's happening. I have a meeting tomorrow with Jewel, and we're going to find out what the PSC has said after the latest filing. So I'll try to keep everybody informed as much as I possibly can.
Just an additional comment to your burn ban. they have extended it beyond the 15th in past years, so.
Oh, yeah.
Don't just think it's a one and done, your 15th and you can start burning. Be aware that they could extend it.
And a quick Google search tells you every day. The next part is town board reports. Elliot?
Well, okay, just a couple of brief comments. The planning board met on May 3rd, approved an application for our short-term rental on Schoolhouse Road. The major item on the agenda was the continuing public hearing for the Cornerstone of Rhinebeck application, but that was removed from the agenda because of medical reasons, and there will be an announcement at the next meeting, which is on the 17th, in terms of where that will go from here. Zoning Board had a meeting on the 28th of April. There were 2 variance applications. Continuing discussion on the part of the board about the pros and cons of the solar energy system regulations, and of course, recognition of Arthur Weiland, as we've all heard. That was his last meeting on the 28th of April, 23 years of service and whatnot. Cemeteries, should I say something or wait? Okay, cemeteries had an interesting site visit with our highway superintendent and the highway department clerk, Melissa and Todd. We went out and visited the cemeteries and talked about maintenance. There's a schedule been set up so that, if I'm not mistaken, Schultzville Cemetery, the maintenance day is Monday. Pleasant Plains and Providence on Thursday, weather permitting, of course. And in addition to mowing, this will include general cleanup, some trimming here and there, removing branches that have fallen down, and we are getting a lot of very favorable comments from residents about the condition of the cemetery. So I think there's credit due to the highway guys for that. Okay.
I brought this up last year, and I will get you the information, and it is private property, but I had mentioned to Michael, and Michael mentioned that he would talk to you about it. There is a cemetery plot the stones were removed, but the bones are still there, over on Browning Road.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
And so if I think, and it's stoned within, so it's kind of identified within the stone plot, but if the owner was amiable, I think we should maintain it as far as mowing it and maybe put up a little significant sign, whether through the Historic Society or whatever.
We're on Browning. Do you have an address on Browning?
I know where it is. It's one of 2 lots. I can show you the map.
We should take a look, go out there.
And there used to be a church there.
The church was moved.
It was moved in 1860 or something,
Right.
but the graves still remained. I also put a resident who was interested in this in touch with the Historical Society, because they apparently knew about this cemetery.
Yeah.
Craig Marshall knew about it. So I think they were going to have discussions to see about maintaining it, and if this town wants to get involved.
So after you pass Halsted,
Okay,
going on Browning Road,
Right.
going south, I guess.
toward Hyde Park, yeah, okay,
On the left-hand side, when you get up to the top of the hill,
okay.
the pole company had put a path through there. That's what stimulated the call that I got. And they didn't go over the stones, but they went on the path right next to it and then went behind, because the poles are behind the property. So it's the property that had that big tree that just came down in front of it. They own all of that, but it's the corner of their parcel. So it's the north corner of their parcel, and it's maybe 20 by 20. I mean, it's not a big parcel, it's just...
Do we have a name? You give me the name of the owner?
I have the map and everything. I dug it out of the history,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
so I
Yeah, we
pulled it
should
out
do
of
that.
history
Okay.
records, and so I have all the information. I'll give it to you.
Great. There's also a family burial ground that I just learned about through the Historical Societies on Salt Point Turnpike somewhere, south of the hamlet. I'm not exactly sure. It's on private property as well. An old family burial ground that's been on this property for who knows how many years.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to try to do something with that one as well, in terms of putting up a marker and fixing it, cleaning it up, or whatever has to be done. But yeah, by all means,
Okay.
get the information. We'll take a ride out there and see what we can do.
Do you have reports? Dean?
Well, obviously, the zoning revision is ongoing. We're in the final stretch of our definitions. The next meeting will be next week on Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
You don't think that's a little optimistic, final stretch?
Well, I'm not going backwards. I've said this before.
Sounds good to me.
So the stretch is forward, and we were going forward.
All right. I'll take that.
Before we move on, Arthur, did you have something to add to the cemetery question?
Should just tell Elliot, I actually helped move the stones in that burial plot with somebody because they reshaped the ground. And I played there as a kid. But also,
Oh, is that right? The one on Salt Point?
Did the stones go to Pleasant Valley? Is
Okay.
that where they went?
No, we just lifted them up in the air. They wanted to grade the place.
He means the ones on Salt Point Turnpike.
Oh, Salt Point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also have information because of West Cemetery
Right.
about other small plots in town.
Oh, okay, great.
So we'll get together.
Absolutely. Yes, we should
Thank you.
definitely do that.
Still serving the
Thank
community.
you, Arthur. There you go.
Catherine?
I have a few things for the library. They are still looking for trustees, so if you're interested, they could use some help. Just stop by the library and see either Carol or any of the staff can help you. And then also, want to remind everyone, the book sale is coming. It is a great book sale. There's a preview night, which is paid entrance, Thursday, May 19th. And then the book sale will be Friday, the 20th, 1 to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 9 to 5, which includes a plant sale, and also Sunday, 11 to 3, bag sale and plant sale. So that's the 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd of May. That's all I got.
I'm going to cover for Chris for recreation. Camp registration is open. It's a great camp. Forms are on the recreation page of the website. We have a hiking club this Saturday, 9 a.m., Ferncliff Forest. Every month they'll meet at a different place. We need lifeguards and camp counselors. If you are interested, please contact Kathy Gallinger at 845-266-5721, extension 130. And this summer, we are going to have a music series in the park with live music and food trucks at Fran Mark. On July 7th, Brad Cole is performing. On July 14th, Patrick Kelly is performing. And on August 12th, co-sponsored by the Recreation Department and the library, is Vito Petrosito. And if you want to learn information about all these great things, please go to the Town of Clinton website, and along the top, there's a button for subscribe. You can put in your email address, and you'll get emails on all of these things.
What's the minimum age for the counselors? There's a
16 for
16?
counselors, and we're also taking volunteers, like a counselor in training, and they're 14 with their working papers.
And so now we move on to old business. The library lease update. At the last town board meeting, I made a motion to accept the final 10-year extension of the library lease, and we had much discussion, and we left the motion on the table, allowing councilpersons Mostello and Giuliano to confer with the town attorney. To refresh everyone's memory, the motion on the table read as follows: be it resolved, the town board authorizes the supervisor to sign the extension agreement between the town of Clinton and the Clinton Community Library for a 10-year period beginning May 14th, 2020, and ending May 13th, 2030. This motion was seconded by Councilman Werner and left on the table. So after your discussion with the town attorney, are we going to add anything to the discussion? Or we can just move to the vote?
We can move to the vote if you'd like. I actually have a lot to say. I guess in Chris's absence, I will take over his
Okay.
many words. We did have a great conversation with Shane, the town lawyer, which I appreciated you giving me the time to do that. And according to Shane, we are under no obligation to continue the lease. It has to be board approved, so it has to be voted on. It has to be a majority vote. So that comforted me, so I appreciate that. Since then, a lot has happened for me as a town councilperson. I have been accused of not understanding the budget and how the 414 works. I have had it proposed to me that my decisions I might regret politically, since I will be here for 3 more years and some are probably leaving the board. We heard passionate opinions on both sides, definitely at the meeting, and then I've heard from people myself on the opposite side, just as passionate. And I go back to, I thought about it a lot, and I go back to what probably no one but me remembers my campaign sign said, which is no politics, just common sense. And I really think common sense dictates that the library should pay towards the utilities. Now, that said, I also think that the stalemate needs to end, and there needs to be a compromise. We have to come to a compromise. It's not good for the library to be sitting here like this with two different thoughts, and it's not good for the town board. But based on conversations, I'm also not super optimistic about that. But that's where I'm sitting right now.
So the question on the table in the motion is whether we just accept the extension, the last extension. They've been there 45 years of a 55-year agreement with the 3 extensions. And so, to be clear, a no vote means we don't accept it. A yes vote means we do. If you're all ready to vote, I'd like to just move on with it.
Sure.
We'll do a roll call vote. Councilwoman Mostello?
No.
Councilman Michael?
No.
I am a aye.
Yes.
Motion does not carry. ARPA update. You're all used to my little spreadsheets by now. I'm sorry that not everybody out there can see them. Thank you. We'll go quick. The things that are highlighted are the things that change, except of course that top number, we are awaiting still the $216,000 in July. The highway heating, we approved the bid packet on March 8th. The low bid was $69,691, and it is on tonight's agenda to approve. The new TV studio was approved, and now we are starting to get boxes delivered to the town hall, so the equipment is being delivered as we speak, and we're paying those bills. We will schedule the installation of all of this once we get all of the equipment delivered. The total cost for the purchase was $20,656. We approved $25,000. The extra $4,500 approximately was for labor. The Fran Mark Rec Security Camera Wi-Fi project. So we spent about $500, and Wi-Fi is now installed at Fran Mark Park. But it will only really work inside the pavilion. I met with Fred and somebody from General Security the other day. So we have about $9,500 left that we've approved to spend there, and they are going to, he's coming up with 3 options for us, sort of like we did with the television studio. I told him, give us the catalog option, the middle one. And it looks as if we should be able to add, I don't know the proper word, but add things to either end of the pavilion that will send out Wi-Fi signal to,
Extenders.
yeah, the whole beach area and probably up to the parking lot and the basketball court. And then he has plans, because we own those telephone poles. They're not owned by the utility. So he has going to give us some plans for installing cameras that will work with the Wi-Fi and record, and we can be able to, we'll have certain people that will have access to see them online live. And he believes it should come in well under 10,000. So once we see those options, we'll discuss it. Yeah.
Well, that's all great. And I realize that we don't have the funding, but we're going to consider doing a similar thing at Friends.
I think we are going to consider a similar thing at Friends. Currently, in order to have the Wi-Fi, it's $250 a month. That is not included in these numbers. That's just added to our budget. And since that's the part that's used the most, we didn't want to make it $500 a month this year, because we'd already set the budget for this year, so it's an extra expense. But we can discuss it during budget time to have it in the budget for next year for Friends Park.
Why is it so much?
That was apparently the good deal we got. Chris worked out the deal with Optimum.
Yeah.
Because what we wanted them to do was put a hotspot on top of the telephone pole at the road so that it just sort of worked.
Right.
And they said they could not do that. I don't know what their reasoning was behind it, but they could run the cable, and we would have basically, well, we're considered a business. We're not, a residential neighborhood. So a resident, I think, would pay a little over $100 a month, and I think businesses, their business rate is $250.
Well, that's better, though, because, not the rate, but that we do the one part, because then we can see, people will tell us.
Yeah.
Do they use it? Do they appreciate it? And then I imagine we can turn it off. in the
Yeah.
winter.
Oh, yeah, and we're hoping we can, that was definitely part of the discussion, that we'll turn it off during the times when the park is not in use.
Right.
Yeah, but people could still break down, go down there and break things. I mean, so
Oh, sure.
No,
security
you're
reasons, I
keep-
don't know if-
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not just the people using the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, it's the cameras.
It's
No,
the
you're right,
cameras,
Dean.
so
I'm sorry.
we'll have to think about all of that. That's a good point, thank you.
So the 165 is what we've allocated so far, or what we have left out of it.
Yes, so, well, going down to the bottom is the culvert pipe thing, which I think we're going to bid
Right,
later this month, and opening those.
right,
So we've approved about $6,000 for that.
right.
So total, with everything we've done and everything we've approved, it'll be, we're down to about $164,500 in money left from ARPA. That's $13,000 more than it was last month, because if you look at the very bottom highlighted thing, the WebLink portion of Laserfish was actually included in the cloud system, so that saved us $13,000.
Oh, that's nice.
So, as I get more information, it'll obviously come up, but I'm hoping that soon all of the equipment for the television studio will be done and we can have a better system up there that won't break down, and maybe we'll be able to update the community better along the scroller, which we haven't really been able to do effectively. Any questions on ARPA? Okay. Next item is you.
You want to do it, or I do it?
Go for it.
Okay. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, the town board approve the contract with Stantz Capital Combustion at a cost not to exceed $69,691 to furnish the materials and service for the highway garage heating replacement project, and authorizes, empowers, and directs the town supervisor to sign the contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We needed to revise the resolution to extend a bid. So I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve amending the April 20th, 2022 resolution for the bid for the library ramp using BidNet, extending the deadline. The sealed bids will be received by July 5th, 2022 at 10 a.m. by the town clerk, Carol Mackin, 1215 Center Road, Rhinebeck, New York, 12572, and opened as soon thereafter. Is there a second?
Second.
The discussion is that we put a lot of projects on our engineer, and they needed a little more time to get this done. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We had an email earlier saying that number 5 was being removed, but now I'm adding a 5 and 6 along the same lines. So, the Masonic Hall, we approved, I'm just going to explain it quick. We approved a certain vendor. That vendor had issues with the insurance that was required. He is partnering with another vendor who will have the insurance, so we need to rescind the bid that we accepted and put it out to bid again, where they will bid on the project a second time.
Okay.
So I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board rescind the April 20th, 2022 motion to approve the contract with Robert Hollingsworth for the painting of the Masonic Hall at a cost not to exceed $48,640 due to the vendor lacking the proper insurance certificates. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion
When would we actually vote on this?
on the accepting the new one?
Yeah.
That's in the next motion.
Oh,
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And then I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve rebidding for painting of the Masonic Hall through BidNet. The sealed bids will be received by Wednesday, May 18th, 2022 at 10 a.m. by town clerk Carol Mackin, 1215 Center Road, Rhinebeck, New York, 12572, and opened as soon thereafter. Is there a second?
second.
We will vote on it on the 19th at the special meeting we're
Got
having.
it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Culvert pipes.
We'll vote on those too at the same meeting.
Yes.
Yep.
I make a motion that the town board approve rebidding for culvert pipes through BidNet. The sealed bids will be received by Wednesday, May 18th, 2022 at 10 a.m. by town clerk Carol Mackin, 1215 Center Road, Rhinebeck, New York, 12572, and open as soon thereafter. There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next one is yours as well?
Your turn.
My turn? Okay. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, the town board approve a special meeting to be held on Thursday, May 19th, in the town of Clinton Hall, 6:30 PM, for the purpose of awarding the bid culvert pipes and to discuss any other business that may come before the board. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Presumably, the other business would include the Masonic.
Well, we weren't sure today, so I put it in there that way,
Fine.
just to
Yeah.
cover
Okay.
ourselves, yeah.
Got it.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. New business. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve proclaiming the month of May in the Town of Clinton Mental Health Awareness Month and authorizes the display of ribbons on town hall property supporting the education and advocacy of mental health awareness. Is there a second?
Second.
May.
Everybody seconds that.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the town of Clinton is teaming up with the National Alliance on Mental Illness. When you're visiting the town campus, you will notice large ribbons promoting the campaign to eliminate the stigma of discrimination and prejudice surrounding mental health conditions. We are all wearing these green ribbons tonight in support of that message. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Catherine?
I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve the Recreation Committee-sponsored Worldwide Knit in Public event hosted by myself on June 11th, 2022, from 11 to 3 in the Clinton Town Hall.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's me again. I make a motion that the town board approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve the contract with Mia Tomic for yoga instruction at the June 11th Worldwide Knit in Public Day event at a cost not to exceed $40 and authorizes, empowers, and directs the town supervisor to sign the contract. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve permission to Bike New York to use the town complex as a rest stop for the June 26, 2022 Bike New York event. Is there a second?
Second.
This is something we do every year. The certificate of insurance is on file. They place porta potties outside and remove them the following day, and they have a table with water for riders. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Dean, Catherine?
Okay. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved, the town board approve resolution number 24 of 2022, the 284 agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Make sure that you sign the 2 copies before you leave tonight. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve going to bid through BidNet for the purchase and installation of fencing around the ball field at Friends Park using Community Development Block Grant funds upon the receipt of bid documents from the town engineer. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve going to bid through BidNet for the construction of ADA-compliant bathrooms and paved walkway at Friends Park using Community Development Block Grant funds upon the receipt of bid documents from the town engineer. Is there
Second that.
any discussion?
What's the thought on the path of the paved walkway? Where's it going to go?
It should be going from the handicap parking spots that are going to be painted there behind the ball field to where the restrooms are.
And so there's a pavilion there in that whole area?
Yeah, the
Okay.
pavilion area.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Resignations and appointments. I make a motion that the town board accepts the resignation of Michael Galantich from the planning board effective May 10th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Appointments. I make a motion that the town board approves the appointment of Lisa Lambert as cleaner effective May 13th, 2022 at an annual salary of $8,550 for 6 hours per week on campus and an additional 2 hours per week at Fran Mark Rec Park from May 28th to September 13th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I should have had discussion. I just wanted to point out that's about a $6,000 savings from what is in the budget for that position.
Oh, nice.
I make a motion that the town board approves a leave of absence for Samantha Campbell as clerk from May 27th to September 7th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Samantha will be our aquatics director during that time frame, so that's why we need the leave of absence. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the appointment of Samantha Campbell as substitute clerk at $15.30 per hour for a maximum of 4 hours per week from May 27th to June 24th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Dutchess County Human Resources agreed to this substitute position because Samantha's only working weekends as a lifeguard during that time frame, so this will bring her up to her 20 hours a week. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the appointment of Samantha Campbell as aquatics director from May 28th to September 7th, 2022, at $16.38 per hour for a maximum of 470 hours. Is there a second?
Second.
We are merging the head lifeguard and aquatics director roles, so this also represents a savings in our budget. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And I make a motion that the town board approves the appointment of Brandon Campbell as lifeguard from May 28th to September 7th, 2022 at $15.30 an hour. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the appointment of Noah Bancroft, Lindsay Tiedemann, Jared Nolan, and Madeline Marchant as gate guards from May 28th to September 7th, 2022 at $13 per hour each. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Resolution number 25 of 2022, Community Day Committee members, effective April 26, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
May I jump in with a quick question?
Yes.
This just occurred to me. Actually, Carol could probably answer this better. Samantha, okay, as a, just a second, I'm sorry. Substitute clerk between May 27th and June 24th. Okay,
Yes.
I got that. Leave of absence from May 27th to September 7th. So what happens during that,
So May 27th to September 7th, she's going to be working at the park
right? Okay.
as aquatics director, head lifeguard, that kind of stuff, but
Right.
Only weekends.
but only weekends in June, so which
Okay.
is only 16 hours to make up her extra 4 hours that she generally gets in the budget. We're making her a substitute clerk for those
You
days.
you can be a substitute and hold another position only for a maximum of 3 months.
I see.
And so that's a
Okay.
1-month period. She
Right.
meets the criteria, and they
Okay.
allowed her the part-time 20-hour
Okay,
status.
got it.
Warrants.
Make a motion be resolved, the town board approves the May general fund warrant vouchers number 181 through 242 totaling $88,451.67. The May highway fund warrant vouchers number 96 through 124 totaling $81,976.96. And the May capital fund warrant voucher number 3 totaling $3,455.59. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves resolution number 26 of 2022, a motion to move funds at the May 10th, 2022 town board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Most of the time, we don't have discussion about these things, but I just wanted to explain a couple of things that happened in it. At the end of last year, in December, we found out we had about a $200,000 shortfall, and that was because we had overestimated in the budget, it was overestimated how much CHIPS funding, Pave New York, winter recovery we were going to get. But we match up income with expenses, so we overestimated the income, so we budgeted the same amount for expenses, and our highway superintendent, as is his prerogative, spent that money. But we didn't get the money in income, so we ended up in a $200,000 shortfall. Unfortunately, we realized this in December, and so it was already, the same mistake was already built into the budget that we had passed for this year, the previous month. So you'll notice that I am amending the budgeted totals for CHIPS, PAVE, winter recovery to match the actual revenue for this year. And I'm also amending the budgeted expenses for those lines to make sure we are matching up expenses and revenues. I've had many discussions with Todd over breakfast about this, and I think we're all on the same page now. We should be good moving forward. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Just an additional comment.
Yeah.
People may have read in the paper, I think it was an article a few days ago, was talking about how all the town's highway departments are struggling with their paving projects because of the cost of what oil is. And so many of the towns are now evaluating how much of the roads are going to be done, only for the fact that the cost of paving has gone up extremely a lot. And that certainly was a conversation that Catherine and I had with Todd this week as well. So Todd is working diligently on trying to figure out how to best, take care of the paving projects in the town. I did see an email about certain potholes and things like that, and I just want to make the town residents aware of the fact that, because of everybody's feeling the inflation that we're going through, and our highway in our town is not exempt from that. So you have to bear with us. I know Todd is, struggling to do everything he can to make sure that our roads are safe and in good shape.
All right. We're going to open it up to public discussion, I assume? No?
Want to do your
Todd?
supervisor's report?
Oh, I thought I did. Sorry about that. I make a motion to approve the final supervisor's report for January, February, March, and April 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. No one's coming up for public comment? We shall skip that. So I make a motion that the town board adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you so much, guys.